Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to Project 20. I hope you had a good spring break. And you're probably asking me, did you have a good spring break? And I did. I stayed at home and stayed safe, and I hope you did too. Project 20. Well, Project 20 is going to be called a photo collage. And you're going, photo collage? Number one, I know what photos are, but what's a collage? Well, a collage is an art form where you take, for instance, a piece of paper or whatever, a flat surface, and then you glue things onto it. You can draw on it and color it too, but you glue things on there. It could be photos, it could be fabric, it could be construction paper, it could be all different kinds of things that you glue onto the surface, all right, to make a work of art. Now, the first artist that was actually was credited with creating collage was this artist, and his name was Pablo Picasso. He's a very, very famous artist of the 20th century. He did a lot of crazy paintings, but he is credited with starting collage. Whether he really is the first one, I don't know, but a lot of art historians say. So here's an example, and you can look him up on the internet, of one of his collages. Now, with his collage, he drew on it, but he also cut out wallpaper, and he cut out words out of magazines or newspapers, and he glued them down to the surface to create the collage. Now I'm going to show you this one that he did just to show you how large it was. Here's a person actually looking at it. This is a large work of art. So he had to use large pieces of maybe wallpaper or big photographs to glue down to create his collage. So he glued things down to a flat surface. Now, probably the most famous artist in America that created collage was an African-American artist named Romare Bearden. Okay, you can see over here one of his collages that he's working on. And he combined cutting out objects out of magazines and fabric and glued them down. Actually, also painted and drew pictures on his collage. But he's quite famous. You can see it's pretty big. Now, he, of course, first his collages dealt with growing up and being an African-American in this country. And this one deals with growing up in the South, at the turn of the century, when things were very hard for African Americans. They lived out in the country, and they're very poor. And a lot of them were referred to as sharecroppers. And that's as an image that he created by using photographs and painting and stuff to create his collage. He also did images of African Americans in the city, because a lot of African Americans that lived down south left the South and went to the city, like New York City, to have a better life. And you can see he's cut out photographs and he's glued things together. He cut out a picture of a big cigarette out of a magazine and glued it down to tell the story of the people that he knew best, the African Americans. And of course, one of the other things that he loved was African American music, which was jazz music. And he's cutting out these figures. And he cut out parts of a face and two parts of a face and put it together to create one face, which you can do if you want to. We'll talk about that later. But you can see he cut out all these different patterns and stuff. Now, I went on the internet and I did find some other collages that were done by other artists that were influenced by those two artists. Here's one right here. It's a really cool example. And you'll notice there's words. So many times students forget that they can put words in their collage. You can cut out words from magazines, or you can write words if you choose to. This person cut out a lot of different figures and put them on there. You'd have to ask the artist what that all stands for, because sometimes it's kind of confusing, and you're like, what is that all about? For instance, this collage basically has to do with a famous artist, Frida Kahlo. She was from Mexico, and this person has created a collage to create a portrait of her, and she was famous for her portraits. But you can see they've cut out a rose, a tree, and just different shapes and colors and stuff to create the collage. And then this one right here, it's very interesting. They cut out big old lips and flower petals and a face and it's like a fairy. And then this is a woman in a dress, and then there's just different shapes and stuff. And remember, you can lay things on top of each other. That's called overlapping. Like this figure is on top of these other figures or objects in the background. So don't be afraid to do that. And then, of course, this last one, and it has a reference to an artist named Henry Matisse who did cutouts. Henry Matisse actually did cutouts of construction paper and glued them down on paper, and this artist is kind of honoring him. This is with these leaf forms and this human figure form. And then you can see there's his face that he got out of a magazine and a figure that he got out of a magazine. So what are you going to need to make a collage? And I'll talk about what you can do if you don't have any magazines. First of all, you're going to need some scissors, and you're going to need some glue, okay? And you're going to need a magazine or magazines. Now, you can actually make a good collage with just one magazine. Don't sit there and say, oh, I can't find anything in my magazines. You really have to look hard and take your time, because you can find all kinds of different things. I actually cut out some stuff from 3 different magazines, and I didn't even get that far before I knew I had quite a bit of stuff. So I'm going to kind of demonstrate real quick, all right? So I cut out this big picture of this hamburger, man, a person holding a hamburger, which I just thought was strange and odd. Now, you know what's funny? My glue is not working right, so I'm going to show you a trick. You can always take the lid off your glue, and you probably have a Q-tip at your home, of course, and you can use a glue stick too. And you can use a Q-tip like a paintbrush. So I'm going to glue this hand down. So I'm going to put glue on the back, and I'm just going to smear it around. You don't have to put too much, but you do have to put some, because this is a big piece of magazine. Now, remember, if you're at home and you're using a magazine and you have a magazine, make sure you've got permission to cut out of the magazine. I don't want your mom or your dad or your grandma to come home and say, what did you do to my magazine? So make sure you have permission to cut out pictures in your magazine. So I'm just going to put this hand down here, like there, right there, okay? I'm going to put it there, okay? Now, I'm not going to finish this collage. Excuse me, the lights are kind of hot. I'm not going to finish this, but I'm going to go ahead and get started. You know, I found this crazy dog. I'll show you. Whoops, it went over there. This crazy little dog. Well, I'm going to have some fun. I'm going to show you something. I'm going to cut his head off. Not that I'm mean to dogs, but look, I cut his head off, and I'm going to glue him, or her, it could be a girl dog. I'm going to put the glue on the back. I'm kind of going fast. You can take your time. And I'm going to glue him on top of this hamburger right here. Or I'm going to glue him like this, coming down, like he's climbing the hand. Okay? Now this is where you can have fun. I cut out this head of this girl. Because you can play around. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to glue this on the bottom again. I'm going to glue this. And I'm going to put the head, like the dog has the head of a girl. Okay? See that? Kind of funny. Oh, and you said, but Mr. N, it kind of went over the edge of the paper. That's fine. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to show you this. Look, this woman over here sees this dog, and she's like, ah! I'll glue. She's like, oh my goodness, a dog with a human head. Oh, stop it. Plus, I'm on the top of a giant hand with a hamburger. So have fun with this. Be creative. Now, I'm going to put this on top of this. You can overlap things and see, she's like, ah! Now, you can also cut out words. And I found this crazy word right here, enjoy. And I'm going to put this on, though I don't think that lady's enjoying seeing that dog with a head of a girl, but we're having fun with this anyway. So I'm going to put enjoy right down here in the corner. Enjoy. So you might think it's kind of funny. Now, I still have a lot more objects I can put on, but I'm going to cut it short because I want to show you some examples. But one of the things you can do, I went through the magazine and you can cut out letters. And you're going to do this. I'm going to glue this down. And it's L-O. I found an L-O. And then I found another word, and I took the V-E. And I put this in here. And I'm going to spell, y'all know what this spells, boys and girls. It spells love. Like, I love this picture, but I'm not finished with it yet. So right now, I could take a lot of time and finish this, but we only have so much time for me to talk to you. So I am going to show you some examples that some of the students have done in the past. Now this one is really nice. This person actually didn't get to finish theirs, but you can see all the fun things they're starting to do. They cut this woman out, and then they put this big gigantic watch on her waist, and then they cut out this ring and made it a crown for her head. And then they cut these little cute little animals, sticking their heads out to see what's going on. This one, right here, you see this motorcycle, you see this rhinoceros, this leopard, I don't know what this is. This is something they found. Oh, these These are actually fireworks, but they turn it on its side. It just makes a nice, interesting picture. And you see, they put things on top of each other. They cut out these, looks like stars to make it like a night sky. And they also took markers and colored in the white areas, which you can do if you want to. And this person kind of did the same thing. And they got these huge pair of binoculars, a racetrack down here, a puppy dog looking out, and then a car on top of here, and then this man, and some more cars. They like cars, and they like race car drivers. So it can be about things that you like. But remember, you're going to get, if you're at school, I'm going to give you a couple of magazines to look through, and you're just going to have to find pictures, and you can. Don't sit there and tell me, I can't find anything in these magazines, because you can. If you really look hard, you can find all kinds of different stuff. So this one's really nice. And this one's got these strange pictures. You know, it's like pictures, and they cut out, actually they cut out a big picture of a sunset, and then they cut out these pictures. They look, I think they probably came out of National Geographic. They're like illustrations about a time in the past. And then they cut out this guy, and they put a head on him. And then they got this crazy car driving across there. Now this is this normal size paper. You older kids, I'm going to actually have big paper, so if you want big paper, it'll be up to you. But here's one with big paper. You see these big heads of these women. They're probably in a fashion magazine, and then these gigantic lips that are cut out. And there's, you know, you can look, sometimes it's hard to tell what, sometimes you cut things out just for their colors in magazines. You say, oh, I just like this color, I'm going to cut it out. And then, of course, here we go. This right here. You got this car. Oh, and you know what? I'm not sure which direction this should be. I'm holding it up like this, but maybe it was meant to be shown like this. The car is coming down like this. You got a basketball player. You got a kitty cat. You got birds. You got this scene probably from a National Geographic illustration of an ancient cat attacking an ancient antelope. And then, of course, they use colors, too. They came in color. And then you've got this cardinal holding a baseball. And this crazy bear climbing up this chair. So, you know, have fun with it. See what kind of things you can find in the magazine. Generally, what I tell you is, before you think about what you're going to glue down on your paper, you just go through the magazine and cut out things that are interesting to you. And you might not use all of them, but go ahead and cut out maybe at least 10 different pictures. Or words like, well, that was kind of neat. Or eating. You know, just cut out things that you like, and then from that, you will create your collage. Now, say this is the alternative. If you're at your house and you say, Mr. N, I have no magazines, I have no newspapers, I have no extra pieces of paper, I just don't think I have anything I can cut out and glue down on my paper. Well, you can take the notebook paper and color different things and then cut that out and glue them down. Or you can do this. This is an alternative to a collage. I call this a doodle drawing. This is where you get your pencil and you draw all over your paper, just strange little cartoon characters and just anything you can think of. They don't have to relate to each other. There's this man looking up. There's a smiley emoji. There's a cactus growing out of a pot with an eyeball. There's a building, a skyscraper. And there's a volcano. Then there's a man in a truck driving around on top, and then there's flames coming out, and then there's the word love and flowers, and there's a hand and clouds, and then there's another emoji that says free. There's a rose, a fish, a kitty cat, half of a person's face, sad, hearts. You just draw whatever you want, then you can outline it and color it different colors too. You don't have to leave it black and white. So everybody should have something that they can do. I hope you can do a collage, because they're a lot of fun. So I look forward to what you're going to do and what you're going to show me. If you're at home, be sure to upload your pictures and send them to me. And of course, if you're at school, you're going to actually get magazines to cut out and glue stuff. So it's Project 20, and the term is called collage or photo collage. So be safe, be creative, and use your imagination. Can't wait to see what you do. Bye-bye.